For 3 years, I've been giving you news from Russia. I called them crazy and wacky news because it was what they were, crazy and wacky. But last week changed everything. Russian news reached a new level of craziness. The only word I know to describe it in English is phantasmagoria, a constantly shifting series of illusions or imagined images in reality, often described as dreamlike, where events appear and disappear rapidly, creating a bizarre and confusing scene. Essentially, it's a collection of rapidly changing, unreal visions mixed with reality. This is what Russia looks like now. Watch today's Wacky Wednesday news report and see for yourself. And the most phantasmagorical news, Russia is toying with offering the USA to take its resources, rare earth and aluminum, and inviting American companies to come and jointly extract resources in Donbass, in the land that Russia has stolen from Ukraine. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. Welcome to Wednesdays. I give you wacky Wednesday news, phantasmagorical now, straight out of the mad circus that Russia has become. But first things first, there is no such absurdity that could not be realized in Russia these days. Please remember that. And this cannot be more true today. And the news, I call them wacky midweek news report from Russia, the news of Russia that matter and that you will not find in any mainstream media. And it's pretty bad today. Pretty darn bad. The news are, well, wait and see, for yourself. Wait and hear for yourself. But I still try to mix in some humor, because if I don't, I would die. Let me start with a new bill in the Russian parliament. A new bill has been submitted that brings back the concept of special prisons, of the special services from the times of the USSR. According to the first draft of the bill, the KGB will have the right to create its own detention centers, also called special prisons. This was announced by the co-author of the document, the head of the state Russian parliament, Vasily Piskaryov, in his Telegram channel. According to Vasily Piskaryov, and then he heads the anti-corruption committee of the parliament, own detention facilities, the special prisons, will allow the KGB to more effectively investigate treason, extremism, espionage, and terrorism. I quote the senator: additional measures are needed to stop attempts by foreign intelligence services and terrorist organizations to establish contact with spies and terrorists under investigation, to obstruct the investigation, and involve them in further subversive activities. How does that work? Let's say the KGB suspects someone, arrests and puts in prison, and guards that person in prison. And then the senators are afraid that that prison is not enough. And the spies will come in and start negotiate with the spy under investigation in prison. This simply doesn't make any sense, okay? Because there's no sense. The KGB wants its own prisons, period. The KGB wants the ownership. Now it's the Ministry of Justice who owns all the prisons. The KGB banned own detention facilities, the special prisons, in 2006 after the country joined the Council of Europe. Existing special prisons back then were transformed and came under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Justice. And that's where they are now. They're not controlled by the KGB. In USSR, KGB did have special prisons. They were used to hold political prisoners accused of espionage and anti-Soviet activities. Those prisons became famous for their brutal interrogation methods, torture, psychological pressure, and falsification of evidence cases. The special KGB prisons became the symbol of state terror and repression in the USSR, especially during the Stalin years. They were used to suppress dissent until the collapse of the USSR. And in early 2025, the special KGB prisons are coming back. It looks like decent people of Russia have lost the country. Or perhaps it happened a long time ago, quite some time ago, when we just didn't notice. We're just noticing now. Another news shows the desperation that exists both in the army, ranks in the army, and in the military-industrial complex. A Russian army is like in soldiers. It is an unofficial information. No one is talking about it officially. But we know it by the way of sign-up bonuses for those who join the military and sign the contract to go and fight in Ukraine keep growing. Quite a few Russian provinces now are offering 4 million rubles. That's an equivalent of $45,000 sign-up bonus. And that's just the regional. Then there's federal bonus and some other payments. So the sign-up bonus could reach for as high as $55,000 right now. And the war factories, Russia's military-industrial complex, is they are also catastrophically lacking workers. We know it by... Well, from the source. Vladimir Putin many times himself said of the low unemployment of around 2%. And Russia's top authorities, for example, Denis Manturov, first vice prime minister responsible for the military-industrial complex and the industry in general, stated many times that there were hundreds of thousands of unfilled vacancies in the war factories, in the military-industrial complex, and the situation was to worsen in 2025. And he was right on. The catastrophic shortages of people were confirmed last week by the parliament. It proposed sending conscripts to military factories instead of the armed forces. A bill has been introduced that allows replacing the traditional military service with an alternative work at state-owned war factories. The measure is designed to solve the shortage of the personnel during the war and accelerate the production of military products. In my opinion, it is a sign of things dire in Russia's military-industrial complex. It shows how many people have been mobilized, killed in the front lines, and how many people have left Russia permanently. Another news is sort of a bomb. Russia is ready to return to trading in the US dollar. What? 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 The Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Ryabkov, this guy right here, said that Russia may consider returning to settlements in US dollars, especially in the oil sector, as the market is traditionally dollar denominated. I quote, if it is possible to make payments for oil in dollars, we will not mind, unquote. Oh my God. Oh my God. Putin stated many times. How do I say that? I've been talking about it for 3 years now. Putin stated so many times that one of the reasons he invaded Ukraine to break down the system of the domination of the US dollar over the world, and that Russia was to stop trading in dollar and replace trading in local currencies. For example, all the oil that was selling to China would be paid for in yuan. All the natural gas sold to Europe would be paid in euro. So no more dollar. That was a backbone of his speeches, of his policy, of his stand. Oh, we are ditching dollar. We're creating our own currency. We're so strong. The BRICS countries, Brazil, China, India, we're trading in rupees. And now Russia may consider returning to settlements in dollars, especially in the oil sector, as the market is traditionally dollar-oriented and denominated. They are traditionally dollar-denominated. And you didn't know that back in 2022 and in 2023? You didn't know it when that they were traditionally and are traditionally dollar-denominated? You didn't know that by switching to ruble, you signed death sentence to Russian economy? Of course you did. Of course you did know that. You just don't care of the country and its economy, Putin. You don't care about people whatsoever. You don't care of anything except for hanging to the absolute power for a little bit longer. And when you had a chance to ditch dollar for a couple years, you gladly did so. And you used that an excuse to continue the war. And now your economy is falling apart like a card house. You cannot do that. And all of a sudden, you don't mind going back to US dollar. So now Russia is back, or will go back, to trading in dollar. So much for ruble being such a great, strong currency, and so much for the new BRICS currency. Unbelievable. More news on the new fines that the state is imposing on the citizens to help with the huge hole in the federal budget. Yeah, and I'm putting it nicely. Russian economy is demising. They're trying to get as much money from any sources they can get their hands on. Starting March 1st, Russians will be fined for unused land. The fines will be from 20 to 50,000 rubles, for about $2,500 to $5,500. Owners are required to clear the land of debris, weeds, and trees. If land requires development, the work must be completed within 3 years. Now, this is a very vague description. Actually, vagueness is something Russian government loves. It can interpret anything anyhow it wants. And also, it is ridiculous. You buy land, it is your land. You can do anything you want with it. You can leave it undeveloped, or you can develop it, you can grow trees on it, You can grow as long as it's legal. Whatever you grow, you don't grow is legal. You can do that. So you think. The state, Russian state, thinks differently. It just wants to find one more reason to put its greasy hand into your pocket. Just like I said before. Now is the time of new fines, increased taxes, more expensive licenses, etc. Putin's Russia is showing more and more of its real transformed face. Now, let's speak of the biggest changes in Russia in the last few days. To summarize, the wind of change is in the air. Very strong wind of change. There have been the talks of Western companies coming back to Russia. Yes, you heard me right. Western companies coming back to Russia. That was the talk of the country in the last few days. And Vladimir Putin kind of started the talk. Come quickly, come back, you foreign businesses. Encouraged by the talks with Donald Trump, President Putin launched an advertising campaign for Western investors, inviting them to Russia for joint projects. And the government is already coming up with the conditions. It will be screening out the crowds of foreigners rushing back to Russian market. There are localization requirements, mandatory entry of into the new territories. That's the fancy name of the stolen lands, and the special government permissions. The Ministry of Finance, Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov, this guy again, Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak, and other officials all have already been speaking about this grandiose return of the Western companies to Russia. We missed you. Now, this is a very big and very important news, and I will dedicate an entire live stream to this very topic. I need to analyze and give a deep analysis, so please stay tuned. For now, just know there is a lot of talking of Western companies returning to Russia, not from the side of the Western companies, but from the Russian officials. Oh, they want them back. Before moving to the next news, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, those of you who support me, who watch my videos and live streams, who like them, who comment them, who send me good wishes, messages, pray with me, pray for me, and send me love. Thank you, those of you who bought me coffees at buymeacoffee.com. Yes, your support shows that you value my work highly. Just know that inspires me and gives me energy to move forward. Demonetized or monetized, doesn't matter. I'm currently still demonetized, and by the way, I have found the reason why I have been demonetized. Thank you, RW. I will make a live stream about that or a video. You will know the truth soon. So most likely I will stay demonetized for a very long time, but I promise you, I will be here every evening, as long as I can physically, to be telling you the truth about Russia. Thank you so very much. The next news is really funny. Well, at least I think so. Once upon a time, Russia had a plan to design and build an airplane, a small new plane. It is a difficult task to build a plane from scratch. It takes resources and bright minds. It takes lots of money. Well, Vladimir Putin has good friends who come to help at difficult times with difficult tasks. That's what the friends are here for, right? Putin gave a state subsidy to design and build a plane. Oh, of course, he helped out his friend. So his friend took responsibility to design and build the plane. They picked a wonderful name, Baikal, a Russian lake. And this is how the plane should have looked like. It's on top, not that small one on the bottom. That one is important too, but I'll just tell you a little bit in a couple minutes about that plane. That's not Baikal. Baikal is this wonderful plane. And Putin's friends started working hard. The year was 2019, and no one knows exactly how much the state gave in subsidies. Well, at least $75 million just for the design of the plane. That's what's on the record. Most likely much more, but we don't know them because Russian taxpayers never ask questions really, and, no one really shares information because they never ask questions. Well, it was a long story of designing the plane. Of course, it was supposed to be finished by 2021, but you know how they work in Russia. The rumors have it that Russia's famous design bureau called Bang Bang Education was brought into the project to help out. Well, it makes sense, right? No, I'm not making this thing up. There is a company called Bang Bang Education. This is Bang Bang's website. Check this out. Go and check it out for yourself. bangbangeducation.ru. I featured it in my previous videos and live streams. It is a top design company, well, one of the top design companies in Russia. It was involved in the design of a new Russian car, cutting-edge car, can't really say supercar, it'd be not modest, but a very good, solid new Russian car called the Moscow Mule. This baby right here, it's beauty. Personally, I like the Moscow Mule. It is a new style in the car making. Just look at the bumper. It's new style in the car making called Russian elegance. It's sporty, light, slim, powerful. Oh, bang bang design, bang bang education. This Moscow Mule. Love it. Love this car. I'd love to have one. I'd love to test drive it, I would do a live stream right from inside of this car. Bang Bang Education, Moscow Mule by Bang Bang Education. Ooh, tiger car. Anyway, I expected the Baikal plane to be somewhat in the Moscow Mule level. Hey, the design standards in Russia are set high. Well, no such luck. They just announced the creation of Baikal light turboprop aircraft turned to be a failure. Baikal engineers made critical mistakes which resulted in the aircraft to actually be redesigned. The entire design they were doing for 6 years now, it's been scratched. Critical mistakes. Oh, the source is the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Russian Federation. That's the government agency that gave the subsidies, of course. Not one, but a few for the design. $75+ million. Critical mistakes. Problems with stability at low speeds, steering wheel, and landing gear all have been identified as unusable. Another plane to the rescue. Remotivated An-2. That's, well, first of all, that's a very nice word, remotivated. That's fix and modernized. They said that's modernized by fixing. So they took an old plane, An-2, right there on the bottom. That was an old Soviet plane that went into mass production in 1965 in the USSR and now is being considered as a temporary alternative to this wonderful Baikal plane. While the Baikal project is planned to be cancelled soon. Oh, yeah. No one's being held responsible for the wasted taxpayers' money, hundreds, perhaps hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what the friends are for, right? Bang, bang, education, shot, Baikal down. Bang, bang, Baikal hit the ground. Bang, bang, that awful sound. Bang, bang, Baikal is cancelled on the ground. Please forgive me singing. I couldn't resist. By the way, there will be more news. I think it's not the last time we're hearing about Bang Bang education, the Moscow Mule, the Baikal, and other things like that. So, Bang Bang education will definitely surface up, and there will be many more news from Russia like this coming up. They come up every day, actually. So if you want to keep up with other breaking news, become patron of Inside Russia. Every single day, I carefully select and post 9 news that I find important with my commentaries and analysis, and I'll keep you informed on everything you wanted to know about Russia but didn't know where to ask. So become patron on patreon.com. I will put the links down below after this live stream ends. Then get access to the news that matter. The next news is of real estate, right here. A heavyweight Russian senator, Sergei Mironov, proposed to create a state control system over residential real estate prices in Russia. I quote Mironov, "I am convinced that the prices for residential real estate, especially for new construction, should be brought under state control," unquote. He also noted that it is necessary to check pricing and then approve acceptable price ranges. According to Mironov, currently buying an apartment for an ordinary family is almost impossible. He stated that it is more profitable for developers to keep the prices high than to reduce them to a fair level. And also added there is a profiteering component in the prices of new construction. A profiteering component. How do you like that, huh? Of course he's profiteering. It's market economy. If you don't like price, you don't buy. You go and buy from a competition. And then in order to build, you need to profiteer from it. You gotta get profit. Does it come to you as a surprise that Russian state wants to control real estate prices? Because it doesn't surprise me at all. About 4 months ago, right here, I made a live stream telling that the real estate bubble reached its peak. Things are pretty bad in Russia. And now a top senator comes in and says the state price control is needed. He knows how desperate the situation is. And it requires desperate measures. And price control is a desperate measure. So please come watch Russia's real estate market with me. It's going to be the character of many live streams and videos to come. It's about to go. It's about to get interesting. The next news is very Russian. A department to combat loneliness may appear in Russia. Government agency. The parliament expressed the idea of including it, creating the Department of Loneliness, combating the loneliness. I don't know how they're going to call it. So they express this idea, to be as a part of the Ministry of Health. According to the Senator Boris Chernyshov, loneliness is one of the main causes of both psychological and physical illnesses that require government attention. He noted that it contributes to the development of depression, cardiovascular disease, negatively affects the quality of life. Do you see how wonderful Russian senators are? How they care for Russian people? They don't want them to be lonely. In reality, it's just another way to steal taxpayers' money. Some people ask me, hey, Konstantin, you keep on telling that the officials stealing money. How? Well, this is how. Depression and mental illness in Russia are not caused by loneliness. It is caused by the war, by the poverty, by the instability, by the lack of future. Loneliness is caused because men are killed at the front line and women are lonely. They want to improve life of Russians. They should be looking at those causes. They should stop the war ASAP. Instead, they create the Department of Loneliness. The next news is from the central bank, well, from the KGB really, but through the central bank. Russian law enforcement agencies, KGB in particular, have proposed restricting citizens' free withdrawal of their own funds, cash, from bank accounts at automatic teller machines, ATMs. That information was brought to us by the director of the central bank's information security department, Vadim Uvarov. Law enforcement officials came up with idea of a cooling off period for those wishing to withdraw money from their account. The cooling off means if you want to withdraw cash from an ATM, you first notify your bank that you want to withdraw money and you wait, usually from 1 or 2 days. Then bank allows you to do it, to withdraw some cash. Now, it is finally happening. There was smoke before. Now there's fire. I'll bet a tiny one, but still, it's fire. They're discussing it. They're taking steps. It's becoming reality. Do you know why? They are preparing for potential bank runs. They want to slow people down withdrawing their money legally. Desperate times, just like in real estate, require desperate measures. And we're seeing another sign of things pretty darn bad in Russian economy, now in the banking sector, in the banking industry. A week ago, I reported that butter has been massively counterfeited in Russia. Well, butter, sour cream, and milk counterfeiting is on the rise. This week, there have been more cases than the previous week. There have been more and more raids by the government to actually identify and seize the counterfeit dairy products. Why is it happening? I mean, butter, milk, sour cream, come on, counterfeiting. It's not, diamonds. Well, it is shrinkflation, only at a different angle. From the backside. Let me explain. Shrinkflation is a phenomenon where producers, the prices, the cost of products increases, but producers don't want to increase prices. So what can they do? There are two things. First, they can reduce size and sell for the same price. For example, 200 grams of butter is a standard package, used to be. Now they're selling 180, 10% less for the same price. That's, you go and you don't really see 20 grams that much, but it's not there. You pay more in reality. Now, what happens when you have exhausted your opportunities to reduce size? For example, you don't sell 200 grams, but you sell 160. And then you cannot go any lower than that. You start cutting on quality. It takes pretty expensive cream to make butter. Instead of instead of using 100% of cream, you start adding palm oil. That's you can eat palm oil as much. It's not cream, and the product is different. You can't call it butter, and it's cheaper though. So, and this is what they started doing. So it's shrinkflation from behind. And this is just the beginning. There will be more and more because this is a natural way to cope with raising prices, the raising costs of production. Ooh, before we move to the last news, I'd like to ask you a favor. Please let me know what you think of news selection today. Find one news that you like the most, and please let me know down below in the comments. I need that. I need the feedback to actually find out how you like them to make news selection better next time. Thank you so much. And the last news is crazy, wacky, phantasmagorical. It's out of this world. Judge for yourself. On the evening of February 24th, just a couple days ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting on the development of a rare earth industry with the government officials. He stated that he does not exclude the involvement of foreign partners, including the United States, in the projects in this industry. The president of Russia also proposed launching an aluminum mining project in Krasnoyarsk province, which could involve American companies. I quote Putin: "There is something to think about, as well as joint work on rare earth and in other areas, including, say, energy. Russia is one of the undisputed leaders in the reserves of rare earth minerals. We would be happy to work together with any foreign partners, including American ones." Wait, it gets better. As it turns out, the source is the NBC News. The information just came out. Russia has offered the United States ownership rights to rare earth located in the territory of Donbass and Zaporizhia regions, the territories that Russia has stolen from Ukraine. President Putin's aides made an offer to the Trump administration last week during the meeting in Saudi Arabia in El Riyadh, when they met for the first time. My God, this person for 3 years bashed the USA for being evil, for being the enemy, for wanting Russia's resources, for trying to steal Russian resources, for trying to destroy Russia's sovereignty. For 3 years, Russian propaganda has been saying that the collective West, led by the USA, is the enemy. Putin threatened the USA to burn the country in the nuclear fire. He ordered to strike Ukraine with a ballistic missile Oreshnik, and later suggested that the USA could be the next target. He was sending hundreds of thousands of young Russian men to kill young Ukrainian men, telling them that they are at war with NATO, not Ukraine, but NATO, led by America. He was scaring everyone of how he was fighting with the USA to keep Russia sovereignty and resources intact and safe inside Russia. He destroyed Russian economy for that. And now he turncoats overnight and offers America to take Russia's resources in the resources of the land he doesn't own. He calls America partner. It's not the enemy any longer, it's a partner. He wants American companies to come and work in Russia again. Please, America, come and take it. Just agree on peace and make Ukraine agree on our terms. I have a hard time finding words to comment it. A horrendous, phantasmagorical freak show. A mad circus. A nightmare. That man is either mad or cynical beyond belief. He destroyed Russia first. Now he's selling it, trying to buy his own power for a little bit longer, and he's trying to buy his own life. I wonder how Russians who lost their relatives in this war are feeling now. What about the mothers who lost their sons? Knowing that they were fighting with NATO and with America, and America is the enemy, okay? Protecting, defending the country, well, somehow in Ukraine, but many believe that Russians are defending Russia from the USA. What about now? What do you say now? What do you say to your sons? Go to their graves and talk to them. What do you say? What a grotesque finale we start seeing. And I think this is just the beginning, and it's gonna get much, much worse and much more turbulent. Carthago delenda est.